Okay, let's talk about documentation. I know. It can feel like the most dreaded part of the job, right? But what if I told you it could actually become your most powerful tool for change? Seriously, today we're going to flip the script on note taking. We're going to see how your daily entries can do more than just check a box. They can make your incredible work visible and make the entire system of care safer for every single person you serve. This quote right here, wow, it just captures a story that's way too common. Just imagine this for a second. A community health worker, a CHW, finds out a patient has run out of insulin. And not only that, they can't even read the new label and they've started skipping meals. I mean, a crisis is brewing, right? So the CHW jumps in. They coordinate with the pharmacy, get a doctor's visit scheduled, create a whole safety plan. This is literally life-saving work. But the note they leave for the team? Patient needs help with meds. That's it. The work happened, but for everyone else, it was completely invisible. And this is what shows the gap so perfectly. On the left, you've got what the clinic saw, a simple, vague note that doesn't sound urgent at all. But on the right, that's what really happened. A complex, skillful intervention that stopped a potential trip to the emergency room. You see that gap? That gap between what people think happened and what really happened, that's exactly where patients fall through the cracks. Good, strong documentation, that's the bridge that closes that gap.
Right, because when your work as a CHW is invisible, it's not just about, not getting the credit you deserve. It actually leads to very real, visible harm for the people you serve. It's how the entire system can start to fail them. Now, what's so interesting here is that these aren't just little administrative headaches. Nope, every single one of these failures creates a real risk. The primary care provider doesn't see the urgency. Two different people might call the same patient, which is just frustrating for everyone. A referral gets lost in the void. And this is the worst part. A patient who couldn't get a ride gets labeled non-compliant, or their confusion about their meds lands them right in the ER. These are system failures, not patient failures, and they're all preventable.
So how do we fix this? Well, the solution comes down to making the work visible, safe, and useful with two really simple but powerful tools, the note and the tracker.
I want you to think of it like this. The SOAP note, that's the story of one specific moment in time. It's all about that crucial conversation you had today. But the tracker, that's the living, breathing status board for everything that's still in motion. The note is the what happened, and the tracker is the what's next. It's what makes sure no open loop ever gets forgotten.
And the SOAP note is kind of the professional standard that makes your insights readable and safe for the entire care team. It's structured for total clarity. S is subjective. That's the patient's story. O is objective. These are the verifiable facts. A is for assessment, and this is your vital analysis of the barriers and risks. And P is the plan, which makes everything actionable and closes the loop with super clear next steps for everyone. Now, the tracker isn't another spot for you to write long stories. Not at all. It's a pure status system. It's for things like referrals, transportation issues, medication access problems, you name it. It's designed with one main goal in mind, to stop any task or need from just disappearing into the ether. It's all about status, not story.
And here's what that can look like in real life. It's pretty simple, right? You see the referral, the date it was sent, and the status. But check out those last two columns. That's where the magic really happens. We've specifically named the barrier, phone instability, and we've assigned a crystal clear next action with an owner and a date. Just this one little row makes sure that this patient's housing support doesn't get lost just because their phone is unreliable.
Okay, so this is where it gets really cool. This is where we zoom out. Tracking one person's journey is absolutely critical for their safety. But when we start looking at the data from all our patients together, that's when CHWs go from being individual problem solvers to being these powerful agents of system change. I want you to just pause and really think about this for a second. What happens if you notice that a dozen different people are all running into the exact same wall? Is that a dozen individual problems, or is it one big system problem?
You hear stuff like this every single day, don't you? My phone got cut off. I didn't have a ride. They never called me back. These aren't just random complaints. In this new world of visible care, these are data points. Every single one is a piece of evidence that's telling you a story about how the system is actually working, or more often, not working, for the people it's supposed to be helping. And when you start to track those data points, a picture starts to emerge. All of a sudden, you can see that phone instability isn't just a random issue. It's the #1 barrier stopping people from getting the care they need. And transportation is a close second. See? This isn't just your opinion anymore.
It's a hard fact that the clinic just can't ignore. And this really gets to the core of it all. Documenting for one person is about keeping them safe right now, but tracking those barriers across your whole caseload, that's how you make the system itself safer, more responsive, and more just for every single patient who walks through the door. This isn't extra work. It's a powerful extension of your mission.
So let's look at referrals like a chain. They almost never fail at random. They break at predictable weak links. And as you can see here, a super common breaking point is when the partner agency tries to contact the patient. Your data can prove that. And once you know exactly where the chain breaks, you can stop blaming patients and start fixing the actual problem. And this brings us to the real heart of this work, the ethical center. Using data to see patterns lets us shift the entire conversation away from blaming patients for things that are really systemic failures and toward holding the system accountable to fix its own problems.
You know, language has so much power. Patient was a no-show. Just sounds like it's the patient's fault, right? But transportation failed? That tells the truth. It names the system's barrier, it protects the patient's dignity, and it points the team toward a real problem you can actually solve. That simple shift in words is a huge act of advocacy.
So, how do you actually share these big ideas without it feeling like you're pointing fingers? Well, you can use a simple professional script. Start with, hey, a pattern I'm noticing is... Then explain the impact. This is causing our patients too. And finally, offer a helpful recommendation. I think we could improve this by. This approach turns you into a respected expert on how things are really working on the ground.
And this is what happens as a result. The team can finally stop guessing why things aren't working. They can stop trying to fix a transportation problem with patient education, which just doesn't work. Your data makes way for targeted, smart problem solving that actually improves outcomes for people.
And this is just so important because these barriers, they often don't affect everyone equally. They create these inequity patterns that hit certain communities harder than others. By bringing objective data to the table, you can have factual, practical conversations about these patterns without anyone falling back on stereotypes. It's what makes these huge, difficult problems feel solvable.
And when it comes down to it, this is the leap you're making. With visible, data-driven documentation, your role completely evolves. You're not just running around putting out fires for one person at a time anymore. You are actually redesigning the system to prevent those fires from even starting. You're preventing the next 10 crises. So I'll just leave you with this question to chew on. Think about the challenges you see every single day, the frustrations you hear from the people you serve. What pattern is hiding right there in plain sight? And what could that pattern teach the entire system about how to be better, how to be kinder, and how to be more effective? Your observations are the key.